My taste in anime has been evolving ever since I got invested in the medium in 2014. I've stated in videos prior how my appreciation for shows like Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online has degraded over time, and I've also named analysts like Digibro as sources of inspiration for this channel. In putting two and two together, it becomes obvious that my critical perception has been affected by these sources, and this would be the case for others who consume the same type of content that I do as well. This gives rise to the notion that my thoughts are merely a reflection of the media that I consume, and I can understand that conclusion. The concern that reviewers and critics play too large a role in shaping the consensus opinion is not an invalid one, but I often find that it's a misguided one. I disagree with the aforementioned idea that the consumer opinion is simply a mirrored image of the creators they subscribe to. Analysts definitely strive to change the consensus, as they should, but they aren't the puppet masters that some people view them to be. Some people are easily manipulatable. That's not untrue, but it's foolish to assume that everyone would just blindly support anyone's opinion simply because of who they are. The point of an analysis is to support your claim with the most convincing evidence you can. With enough information, you can even turn a diehard fan into an avid opponent of that show. Some arguments are easier to construct than others, and some people are easier to convince than others. As if that wasn't enough, there's always the possibility that someone could provide a more convincing counter-argument that you, in turn, have to try to contest. Most videos aren't about trying to be right or wrong. They're about presenting an idea in the simplest and most succinct way possible. In short, it isn't the analysis who alters your perception. It's the content of the analysis itself. I can't just state that Fuuka's first episode is terrible and expect anyone who doesn't already believe that to share my opinion. I need to construct an argument to support my opinion, and where else would I pull information from than the show itself? My goal is to take the show's own material and use it against itself. The inverse can be done in favor of a show, as I attempted to do with My Hero Academia. Here's another example that gave me the idea for this script. Craftsdwarf made an analysis video several months ago about Your Lie in April, a show that I held in pretty high regard after concluding it. I knew it had flaws. The violent comedic tone shifts weren't funny, the supporting cast was lackluster, but this video pointed out several key components that I hadn't even thought of. I had only just found this guy as well, so I had next to no investment in his content at that point. What convinced me of his stance was the way in which he portrayed the show's content. You could argue that he had to manipulate the content to convince me of his viewpoint, but if that's the case, every opinion piece is manipulative. What he does in this video isn't any different from what any other anime YouTuber does, so that statement would invalidate any and all forms of critique. As such, the flaws he describes fall strictly upon the content of Your Lie in April. His arguments may represent his opinion of the show, but his opinions don't represent his argument. He doesn't dislike Tsubaki for the sake of disliking her. He dislikes her because of her role in the narrative and her lack of character depth. He can't appreciate the show's violent comedy not because he hates violent comedy, but because the violence there is often more brutal than in the dramatic scenes. His claims aren't unfounded, and as a result, I can sympathize with his sentiments. These are things that I could have picked up on if I rewatched the show. What often happens during the first watch is, if a show can firmly establish my investment from the outset, it's much easier for me to overlook its flaws while I'm hooked and distracted by the plot. I was so critical of Fuuka's first episode because it failed to occupy me with an engaging story. When I'm not interested enough to focus on the thing the creators want me to see, picking apart the details that they don't want me to see becomes almost effortless. Not everyone shares a single mindset though, and that's where the analysts come in. Analysis videos will kill your opinions if and only if they can identify details that you missed. You might have even known about that aspect beforehand, but a slight twist on that information could change your assessment from tolerable to unacceptable. In any case, analysis videos do not brainwash people, nor are they a cancer to the fanbase. My Hero Academia isn't badass simply because I say it is. It's badass if and only if you agree with my points in that video, or if you've already established your own similar interpretation of the show. If you do blindly support any given content creator, get your head out of their ass. And if you blindly oppose any particular personality, get your head out of your own. Wait, come back! I wouldn't mind a cult following of my own, actually. So if you'd like to join, subscribe to the channel, share this video around, and follow me on Twitter at MathWiz97x. Until our next meeting, keep on YouTubing.